At 82, Mick Jagger, one of the greatest frontmen in rock history, has finally opened up about the albums that shaped him, inspired him, and stayed with him throughout his life, revealing his 10 favorite rock albums in a way fans rarely get to hear. And what makes this list fascinating is how honest, unpredictable, and deeply personal it is. Jagger begins by naming 1. Elvis Presley. Mick Jagger never hides the fact that Elvis was the first earthquake in his musical life. When he heard this album as a kid, it wasn't just exciting, it was life-altering. Elvis didn't sound like the singers of the time. He sounded free, wild, and untouchable. Jagger says that Elvis introduced him to attitude long before he even understood what the word meant. Tracks like Blue Suede Shoes and Heartbreak Hotel made him realize that a performer didn't have to stand still and sing politely. You could swagger, shout, tease, bend your voice, and command an audience. To Mick, this album wasn't just rock and roll. It was a permission slip to dream bigger. Number 2. The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan by Bob Dylan. This album taught Jagger that words could be weapons. Bob Dylan's writing struck him like a bolt of lightning. Songs like Blowin' in the Wind weren't just melodies, they were statements, questions, and prayers. Jagger says this album opened a door in his mind. Music could provoke thought, spark arguments, challenge governments, and still be catchy enough for people to sing along. Dylan's voice wasn't perfect, but the honesty inside it was, and Mick respected that deeply. He credits this album with expanding his idea of what songwriting could accomplish. 3. Are You Experienced? The Jimi Hendrix Experience. Jagger remembers hearing Hendrix for the first time and feeling like the entire world just tilted on its axis. Hendrix wasn't playing guitar, he was summoning something out of thin air. The sounds on this album felt alien, dangerous, and unbelievably fresh. Purple Haze, Manic Depression, Foxy Lady, every track felt like a revolution. Mick often says that Hendrix didn't just raise the bar, he removed the bar altogether. This album taught him that rock music could be psychedelic, explosive, and deeply emotional all at once. It made him want to push boundaries in the Rolling Stones' own music, too. 4. Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones. Jagger rarely praises his own work, but this album is the exception. Exile on Main Street was born out of chaos, tax exile, troubled relationships, non-stop touring, and a sense of creative hunger. Mick calls this album beautifully messy because it captured the Stones at their most human. Blues, gospel, rock, soul, all mixed with sweat and uncertainty. Recording in the damp basements of France, surrounded by late-night sessions and unpredictable energy, created something raw and timeless. For Jagger, this album is a reminder of struggle, creativity, and survival. 5. London Calling, The Clash. Mick Jagger has never hidden his admiration for The Clash. To him, London Calling is punk at its smartest and most evolved. It had political fire without preaching, youthful rage without sloppiness, and incredible songwriting that still holds up today. Mick says this album woke up an entire generation, including older rockers like himself. It reminded him that rock should always stay dangerous, risky, and full of truth. The Clash didn't try to impress, they tried to shake people, and they did. Number 6. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie. Bowie wasn't just an artist to Jagger, he was a friend, a rival, and a force of nature. This album, in Mick's eyes, is Bowie at his most fearless. Ziggy Stardust wasn't simply a character, he was an entire universe. Jagger admired the way Bowie mixed theater, glamour, darkness, and sci-fi fantasy into rock music without ever losing authenticity. Tracks like Starman and Ziggy Stardust showed Mick that reinvention wasn't a gimmick, it was an art form. Bowie didn't follow trends, he created them. And this album is the proof. 7. Led Zeppelin for Led Zeppelin. Even though fans loved comparing the Stones and Zeppelin, Jagger always respected their power. Led Zeppelin 4 is one of the albums Mick believes defined an entire era. From the thunder of Black Dog to the folk magic of the Battle of Evermore and the monumental Stairway to Heaven, Jagger saw this album as a masterclass in dynamics. Soft to loud, delicate to ferocious, Zeppelin understood the drama of music. Mick says this record reminded him that rock could be spiritual and explosive at the same time.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.